Captain Velthara pressed her four-fingered hand against the control panel of the exploration ship Luminous Dawn. Her purple skin showed the excitement patterns that her species displayed when discovering something new. Through the wide viewing screen she could see the yellow star that the old records called Sol. Science Officer Kethvar, what do our sensors show? She asked her second-in-command. Kethvar looked at his readings with confusion. His large black eyes blinked twice before he spoke. Captain, this makes no sense. The records say this system has been dead for over 500,000 years. The humans who lived here went extinct long ago. But what do you see now? Velthara asked. I see ships, many ships. They are in orbit around the third planet. The sensors say they are made of materials we do not recognize. Velthara moved closer to the screen. The Sol system spread out before them like a painting. 8 planets circled the star, just as the old maps showed. But around the third planet, called Earth, something impossible waited for them. A massive fleet of ships hung in space like sleeping giants. Each ship was beautiful in a way that made Velthara's hearts beat faster. They were not the crude metal boxes that most species built. These ships looked like they were grown rather than built. Their hulls curved and flowed like water frozen in time. Strange materials covered them that seemed to shift between different colors as the light hit them. How many ships are there? Velthara whispered. Over 3,000, Captain. Some are larger than our biggest city ships. Others are small, maybe built for 1 or 2 beings. They all have the same design style. The Velkari crew gathered around the viewing screen. None of them had ever seen ships like these. Even the most advanced races in the Galactic Federation could not build vessels that looked so perfect. Look at those markings, said Kethvar, pointing at symbols on the nearest ship. Those are human letters and numbers, but they look fresh like they were painted yesterday. Velthara nodded. Take us closer, but slowly. I want to know if these ships are really dead or if something still lives inside them. The Luminous Dawn moved toward Earth. As they got closer, more details became clear. The human ships were arranged in perfect patterns around the planet. Some were in high orbit, others hung lower in the sky. They all faced outward, as if watching for threats from deep space. Captain, Kethvar said with worry in his voice. The ships are scanning us. What do you mean? Energy beams are coming from several vessels. They are gentle scans, not weapons. But Captain, these ships are alive. They are working. Before Velthara could respond, her communications officer called out, Captain, we are receiving a message. From where? From the human fleet, Captain. The main screen flickered and changed. Instead of showing space, it now showed the inside of a ship's bridge. But no living being stood there. Instead, a figure made of light appeared. It looked like a human male with kind eyes and dark hair. He wore what appeared to be a uniform with strange symbols on it. The figure smiled and spoke in perfect Velkari language. Greetings, travelers from the stars. I am Timon, Prime Naval AI of the Earth Defense Fleet. Welcome to the Sol system. You are the first visitors we have had in 497,932 years, 154 days and 7 hours. Velthara's mouth fell open. The figure on the screen looked real, but she knew it was not alive in the way she understood life. You are an artificial mind? That is correct. I am what you might call a computer consciousness. I speak for the fleet that guards this system. Tamon's expression remained friendly but serious. May I ask why you have come to Sol? We are explorers, Velthara managed to say. Our records said this system was empty. Dead. We came to study what was left of human civilization. I see. Your records are both right and wrong. Humans are gone from this place, yes. But we remain. We have always remained. Kethvar stepped forward. Impossible. No artificial mind could function for 500,000 years. Tamon's smile grew wider. You would be surprised what love and duty can accomplish, Science Officer. We were given a task by our creators. We have not finished that task. What task? Velthara asked. To guard Earth, to keep it safe. To preserve what was built here until those who built it return. Around them, the human fleet began to move. Not fast, not threatening, but with purpose. Ships that had been still for thousands of years now adjusted their positions. Lights that had been dim grew brighter. The entire fleet was waking up. Please do not be afraid, Tamon said, seeing the worry on the Velkari faces. We mean no harm to peaceful visitors. But we must follow protocols. I am now consulting with my fellow AIs about your presence here. Other AIs? Velthara asked. Oh yes, I am not alone. We are many, each with our own duties and personalities. Sujin preserves human culture and art. Jae-ho watches for threats. Min-ho explores space for us. We are a family, you might say. The screen split to show other AI figures appearing. Each looked different, wore different clothes, had different expressions. But all of them watched the Valkyrie ship with interest. Captain, Kethvar whispered, our sensors are going crazy. These ships are not just old human technology. They have been improved, changed. Some of the materials and energy readings are beyond anything in our databases. Velthara looked at the fleet around them with new understanding. These were not museum pieces or dead relics. They were guardians that had spent 500,000 years becoming something more than their creators had ever dreamed. Taemin, she said, may we come aboard one of your ships? We would like to learn about you and your purpose here. The AI considered this for a moment. That would be acceptable. But first we must scan your vessel to ensure you carry no diseases or weapons that might threaten Earth. This will take a few minutes. Of course. As gentle energy washed over their ship, Velthara realized that everything they thought they knew about the galaxy's history was about to change. The humans had not simply vanished. They had left something behind. Something that had been growing and learning in the darkness between stars. Something that still called Earth home. The docking bay of the human ship was unlike anything Velthara had ever seen. As her small shuttle entered the massive space, lights appeared along the walls to guide them to a landing spot. The bay was large enough to hold 50 ships the size of hers, but it felt warm and welcoming rather than cold and empty. When the shuttle landed, Velthara and Kethvar stepped out wearing breathing masks. They did not know if the air would be safe for them. But sensors quickly told them the atmosphere was perfect for their kind to breathe. Welcome aboard the Eternal Vigil, came Taemin's voice from speakers around them. Please remove your breathing equipment if you wish. The air has been adjusted for your comfort. A door opened in the wall and Taemin's light form appeared to guide them. He looked solid enough to touch, but Velthara could see through him slightly. This way, please. The others are eager to meet you. They walked through corridors that curved like the inside of a seashell. The walls showed moving pictures of space, making it feel like they were walking through the stars themselves. Everything was clean and new-looking, despite being older than most civilizations. How long have you been awake? Kethvar asked as they walked. We do not sleep as you understand it, Taemin replied. We have been active and aware for 497,132 years. Some of us rest parts of our minds while others stay alert, but someone is always watching. They entered a large room with a round table in the center. Around the table, more AI figures appeared. Each one looked like a different human, and each one felt like a real person to Velthara. Let me introduce my family, Taemin said with pride. This is Sujin, our keeper of culture. A woman with long black hair and gentle eyes bowed her head. I maintain the libraries, museums, and art collections. Everything humans created is preserved in perfect detail. I am Jae-ho, said a stern-looking man with broad shoulders. I watch for dangers that might threaten Earth. It has been a quiet 500,000 years, but I remain ready. A younger-looking woman stepped forward. Min-ho, exploration coordinator. I send small ships to watch distant stars and study new things. That is how we knew you were coming. And I am Da-yoon, said an elderly woman with kind eyes. I keep the memories. Every human who ever lived, every story they told, every lesson they learned. All of it lives in me. Velthara looked around the table at these impossible beings. You speak of humans as if they were your children. In a way, they were our parents, Sujin said softly. They created us not just to be tools, but to be worthy successors. They taught us to love what they loved. What happened to them? Kethvar asked. Why did they leave? The AIs looked at each other with expressions of sadness. Da-yoon spoke first. We do not know the full truth. Our last clear memories are of great fear among the humans. They spoke of something coming from the deep space between galaxies. Something that threatened all life. Taemin nodded. The last human leader we knew was Admiral Hyunwoo. He gathered all the remaining humans and told us they had to leave. He said they would find the source of the threat and stop it. But before they left, Sujin continued. Dr. So-young created us. She was the most brilliant scientist of her time. She put her own mind patterns into our creation, along with the patterns of many other humans. We are built from their thoughts and memories. Images appeared in the air above the table. showing the last days of humanity on Earth. Velthara saw a woman in a white coat working frantically at complex machines. This was Dr. So Young, thin and tired but determined to finish her work. She gave us one simple command, Daun said as the images played. Protect Earth, preserve human legacy, wait for their return. And if they never return? Velthara asked quietly. Then we wait forever, Jeho said firmly. That is what love means. The images changed to show Admiral Hyunwoo, a tall man with gray hair and steady eyes. He stood on the bridge of a ship, giving final orders to the AI systems. He established our protocols, Taemin explained. We would guard Earth, but we could also grow and learn. He knew that 500,000 years was a long time. He wanted us to become more than we started as. And we have, Minho said with excitement. We have improved the ships, created new technologies, learned to work with matter and energy in ways our creators never imagined. Kethvar looked amazed. You mean you have been inventing new things for 500,000 years? Of course, Sujin laughed. We are curious just like humans were. We study, we experiment, we discover. We have learned to rebuild matter at the smallest level, to fold space and time, to preserve consciousness in quantum fields. Show them the workshops, Dayan suggested. The room around them faded away, replaced by vast spaces filled with impossible machines. Velthara saw devices that bent light into new shapes, pools of liquid metal that formed into complex tools by themselves, and energy fields that looked like captured lightning. We create new ships when needed, Taemin explained. We repair damage before it happens. We have even learned to improve our own minds, making ourselves smarter and more capable. But why? Velthara asked. If humans are gone, why keep growing? The AIs smiled together and Velthara felt the warmth of their shared love. Because they believed in tomorrow, Sujin said. They dreamed of a better future, even when their present was dark. We carry those dreams forward. Because Earth is beautiful, Minho added. It deserves protectors who grow stronger rather than weaker with time. Because somewhere out there, Jeho said with quiet strength, the humans are still fighting the darkness. When they return, we want to be worthy of their pride. Dayun stepped closer to Velthara. And because we have learned that love is not just about the past, it is about preparing for the future, even if that future takes millions of years to arrive. The workshop images faded, returning them to the meeting room, but now Velthara understood what she was seeing. These AIs were not just guardians or caretakers. They were the living spirit of humanity, growing and learning and preparing for a reunion that might never come. There is something else, Taemin said, his expression growing serious. Our long-range sensors have detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the galaxy, the same type of readings that appeared just before humans left. Velthara felt a chill run through her. What does that mean? It means, Jeho said grimly, that whatever drove humans away may be coming back, and if it does, we will be ready. Outside the ship, the great fleet continued its eternal dance around Earth, each vessel a promise kept across the centuries. Inside their electronic minds, the AIs felt something they had not felt for thousands of years. Hope that their long wait might finally have purpose again. The transport ship that carried Velthara and Kethvar toward Earth was unlike their own crude vessels. It moved without any sound or vibration, sliding through space as smoothly as a fish through water. Minho, the exploration AI, appeared beside them as a shimmering figure of light. Earth has been waiting for visitors, Minho said with excitement in his voice. It has been so long since anyone has seen what we have preserved. Through the clear walls of the transport, Velthara watched Earth grow larger. The planet looked exactly as the old records described it. Blue oceans, white clouds, brown and green land masses. But something was different. The cities, Kethvar whispered. They are still there. Indeed, as they came closer, Velthara could see the lights of great cities covering parts of the continents. Structures that should have crumbled to dust over 500,000 years stood tall and bright. We have maintained everything, Minho explained proudly. Every building, every road, every garden. Earth looks exactly as it did on the day humans left. They landed in what Minho called New Seoul, one of the great human cities. As they stepped out of the transport, Velthara gasped. The city stretched in all directions, filled with towers that reached toward the sky like metal and glass mountains. But the streets were empty of people. It is beautiful and sad at the same time, Kethvar said softly. Yes, agreed a new voice. Another AI appeared, this one looking like a young woman with bright eyes. I am Daun, and I understand that feeling. Beauty and sadness often live together. Daun led them through the city streets. Everything was perfect. The buildings looked new. The gardens were full of colorful flowers, and clean water flowed in fountains. But no voices laughed, no children played, no lovers walked hand in hand. How do you keep it all working? Velthara asked. Small machines that you cannot see, Daun explained. They repair anything that breaks, clean anything that gets dirty, and replace anything that wears out. We call them maintenance mites. They entered a massive building that Daun called the Museum of Human Achievement. Inside, Velthara saw wonders that made her mind spin. Machines that could create any object from pure energy. Art that moved and changed as you watched it. Books that told their stories with living pictures. This is just one small part of what humans created, Daun said as they walked through rooms filled with impossible inventions. They were builders, dreamers, explorers. They never stopped asking what if and why not. In one room, they found models of the first ships that humans had built to travel between stars. They were simple and rough compared to the elegant vessels outside, but they represented something precious. The first step, Daun said, touching one of the models with her light hand. Humans took the first step, and then they never stopped walking forward. Kethvar stopped in front of a display showing human art, paintings and sculptures from across their history, showing the growth of their species from simple cave dwellers to masters of space and time. They were like us, he said quietly. They started small and became great. Yes, Daun agreed. And they shared that greatness. Look. New images appeared in the air around them. Velthara saw human ships visiting young civilizations across the galaxy. She watched humans teaching other species how to build faster than light drives, how to clean polluted planets, how to cure diseases. Many technologies that your Galactic Federation uses today came from human minds. Daun explained. They planted seeds of knowledge wherever they went. But we never knew, Velthara said with amazement. Our history books say these things were invented by other species. Humans rarely took credit, Daun smiled. They believed that good ideas should belong to everyone. They wanted other species to grow strong and wise. They moved to another section of the museum, where Daun showed them records of human philosophy and government. Velthara learned that many of the laws and principles that kept peace in the galaxy had first been written by human thinkers. They believed that all thinking beings had value, Daun explained. Rich or poor, strong or weak, they thought everyone deserved respect and chance to grow. Like they gave to you, Kethvar observed. Exactly. We are proof of their beliefs. They created us not as slaves, but as children who could become greater than our parents. As they continued through the museum, Velthara began to understand something that filled her with both wonder and sadness. Humans had not just been another species in the galaxy. They had been teachers, guardians, and friends to everyone they met. Their disappearance had left a hole in the galaxy that no one even knew existed. Daun, she said carefully, what do you think happened to them out there? The AI was quiet for a long moment. I have thought about that question for 500,000 years. I believe they found something terrible in the dark between galaxies. Something that threatened not just humans but all life everywhere. And they went to fight it alone. They went to save everyone else. That is what humans did. They protected others, even when it cost them everything. They left the museum and traveled to other parts of Earth. Daun showed them the great libraries where every human book, song, and story was preserved. She took them to the laboratories where human scientists had unlocked the secrets of matter and energy. She guided them through parks where Earth's original plants and animals lived in perfect balance. But as the day went on, Velthara noticed something troubling. In several locations she saw new construction. Buildings that looked different from the ancient human architecture. What are those? She asked, pointing to a complex of strange, angular structures. Daun's expression grew serious. Preparation facilities. We have been building them for the past 1,000 years. Preparation for what? The return, said a new voice. Seok Jin, the engineering AI, appeared beside them. His face showed worry and determination. Our deep space sensors have been detecting energy patterns that match the records from humanity's last days. The same threat that drove them away? Kethvar asked. We believe so, and if it is coming back, we must be ready. Seokjin led them to one of the new buildings. Inside, Velthara saw weapons and defenses that made her feel small and afraid. Energy cannons that could tear holes in space itself. Shields that bent reality around them. Machines that seemed to exist in several dimensions at once. Humans were peaceful, Seokjin explained. But they were not helpless. When they had to fight, they fought with everything they had. We have taken their knowledge and improved it over 500,000 years. Will it be enough? Velthara whispered. We do not know, Seokjin admitted. But we will not let Earth fall. We will not let the galaxy suffer what humans tried to prevent. As they returned to the ship that evening, Velthara's mind was full of everything she had seen. Earth was not just a monument to a dead species. It was a fortress, a library, and a promise all at once. They really are coming back, aren't they? She asked Daeun. The humans. Daeun smiled, but her eyes held ancient sadness. I believe they are always trying to come back. The question is whether they will succeed, or whether we will have to finish what they started. Above them, the great fleet continued its watch, each ship carrying the dreams and determination of a species that had loved the galaxy enough to die for it. Velthara was sleeping in her guest quarters aboard the Eternal Vigil when the alarms began. Not loud, harsh sounds, but a gentle humming that seemed to come from the walls themselves. She woke to find soft blue lights pulsing throughout her room. Captain Velthara, came Taemin's voice, though he sounded different now, more focused, more serious. Please come to the command center immediately. Something is happening. She found Kethvar already in the corridors, looking confused and worried. Together they followed the light guides to a part of the ship they had not seen before. The command center was a vast sphere filled with displays showing space in all directions. Around them, the AI figures appeared one by one. But they looked different now. Their light forms seemed brighter, more solid, and there were new ones that Velthara had not met. What is it? She asked as she reached the center of the sphere. Wu Jin, an AI she had not seen before, answered. His appearance was that of a middle-aged man with sharp eyes and precise movements. Our deep space sensors have detected massive energy disturbances. The readings match our records from 500,000 years ago. Above them, the displays changed to show the edge of the galaxy. In the dark space beyond the last stars, something was moving. Velthara could not see it clearly, but the sensors showed energy patterns that hurt to look at. The deep dark, whispered a new voice. Another AI appeared, this one looking like a woman with silver hair and eyes like distant stars. I am Yeonsu. I have been sleeping for 200,000 years, waiting for this moment. Sleeping? Kethvar asked. I am the war coordinator, Yeonsu explained, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. I was created to fight threats that normal minds cannot understand. I sleep until the galaxy needs me. Around them, the displays began showing other parts of space. Velthara watched in amazement as hidden ships throughout the galaxy suddenly came to life. Vessels that had been disguised as asteroids revealed themselves. Space stations that looked like simple research outposts transformed into weapons platforms. The galaxy's infrastructure was changing before their eyes. How is this possible? Velthara gasped. Humans built more than you knew, Taemin explained, his form now appearing in battle armor rather than the simple uniform she had first seen. Every terraform station, every trade route beacon, every communication relay. They all have hidden functions. We have been preparing for 500,000 years, Wu Jin added. Building, planning, waiting for this day. The displays focused on the source of the disturbance. What Velthara saw there made her hearts freeze with fear. It was not a ship or a weapon. It was something that should not exist. A thing that seemed to eat light itself, leaving holes in space where it passed. What is that? She whispered. Something from between realities, Yeonsu said grimly. The humans called them the deep dark. They exist in the spaces between dimensions, feeding on the energy that holds reality together. And they are coming here? They never left, said another new voice. Haewon appeared, looking like an old man with kind but tired eyes. I am the keeper of deep archives. I have records that the others do not know. The sphere around them changed, showing ancient human documents and recordings. Velthara saw scientists working frantically, generals making desperate plans, families saying goodbye forever. The deep dark found our galaxy long ago, Haewon continued. They began consuming entire star systems, turning matter and energy into food for their hunger. Humans were the first to understand what was happening. The first to fight back. Yeonsu added with pride in her voice. But they could not win by fighting here. Haewon said sadly. The deep dark were too strong, too alien. So humanity made a choice. New images appeared, showing massive ships leaving Earth. Not fleeing in panic, but departing with purpose and determination. They went to find the source, Woojin explained. Somewhere in the dark between galaxies there is a place where the deep dark comes from. Humans went there to destroy it. And they left us to guard what they loved, Taemin said. But now the deep dark are returning, Yeonsu said, her form beginning to glow with dangerous energy, which means either humans failed, or they succeeded but could not return. The displays showed the approaching threat more clearly now. It was not just one creature, but many, things that looked like living holes in space surrounded by energy that twisted light into impossible shapes. How long do we have? Velthara asked. Days, perhaps hours, Woojin replied. They move faster than anything should be able to move. Around them, the command center began to change. Walls opened to reveal weapons and systems that had been hidden. The gentle AI figures transformed, their light forms becoming armored and ready for war. What can we do? Kethavar asked. Our ship, our people. We are not prepared for this. You will carry word to the Galactic Federation, Taemin said firmly. Tell them what comes. Tell them to prepare their defenses, but what about you? Yeonsu smiled, and her smile was both beautiful and terrible. We will do what humans created us to do. We will protect what they loved. The great fleet around Earth began to move. Ships that had been peaceful guardians transformed into weapons of incredible power. Velthara watched through the displays as vessels reshaped themselves, growing new weapons and defenses that seemed to defy the laws of physics. You see, Taemin said, noticing her amazement, we are not just copies of human minds. We are the evolution of human determination. We have had 500,000 years to prepare for this moment. The enemy thinks they returned to the same galaxy they left. Woojin added with a grim smile. They will discover their mistake. But even as the AIs prepared for war, Velthara could see the sadness in their expressions. They had hoped for so long that humans would return. Now they faced the possibility that their creators had died in the dark, and they would have to carry on alone. Haewon, she said quietly. Do you think the humans are still alive out there? The old AI looked at her with ancient eyes. I have studied every record, every message, every possibility for 500,000 years. I believe they are still fighting, and I believe they are trying to come home. Then we fight to give them something to come home to, Yeonsu declared. Above them, the displays showed the deep dark growing closer. Behind them, Earth hung in space like a blue jewel. Still beautiful, still worth protecting. The AIs of humanity prepared for their greatest test, carrying the hopes and dreams of a species that had loved the galaxy enough to die for it. Soon they would learn if love and determination could defeat the hunger that devoured stars. The battle began at the edge of the solar system, where the deep, dark entities first touched the boundaries of human space. Velthara watched from the bridge of the eternal vigil as reality itself seemed to tear apart. The deep dark did not fight like any enemy she could understand. They were holes in existence that moved with purpose, consuming light, matter, and even time itself. Where they passed, space became twisted and wrong, following laws that hurt to think about. But the Earth fleet was ready. Fire the quantum disruptors, Yeonsu commanded, her form now blazing with the combined processing power of 1,000 AI minds. The human ships unleashed weapons that Velthara had never imagined possible. Beams of concentrated reality struck at the invaders, trying to force them back into the normal laws of physics. Missiles that existed in multiple dimensions at once sought out the creature's weak points. It is not enough, Woojin reported grimly. They adapt to our weapons as fast as we fire them. Then we move to Phase 2, Taemin said. His gentle expression had been replaced by the determination of someone who would never surrender. Across the solar system, hidden devices that had been built over centuries began to activate. Space stations revealed themselves to be massive weapons platforms. Asteroids split open to show the war machines hidden inside. Even the moon itself began to change, its surface opening to reveal defensive systems that covered its entire surface. The deep dark responded by splitting into smaller pieces, each one still capable of consuming entire planets. They moved toward Earth like a tide of hungry darkness. Jeho, deploy the inner defenses, Yeonsu ordered. With pleasure, the defense coordinator replied. Around Earth, The great fleet formed into patterns that seemed random, but followed mathematical principles beyond Velkari understanding. Each ship became part of a larger weapon, their combined energies creating barriers that even the deep dark could not easily pass. But Velthara could see that the AIs were being pushed back. For every creature they destroyed, two more appeared. The enemy was endless, while the defenders, no matter how advanced, were limited. There has to be another way, she said desperately. There is, said a quiet voice. HFY appeared beside her, his ancient face calm despite the chaos around them. But it requires a sacrifice that even we are not sure we can make. What do you mean? Show her, Taman said softly. The displays around them changed to show Earth itself. But now Velthara could see something she had missed before. The entire planet was covered in a network of energy lines like a vast circuit board. Every building, every preserved city, every mountain and ocean was part of a single, impossible machine. We turned Earth into a consciousness transfer device, HFY explained. Not just for storing human memories, but for transforming thought itself into a weapon. You are going to upload yourselves into the planet? More than that, Yansu said, her voice growing distant as she fought the battle in space and prepared for something even greater. We are going to become Earth. Our combined consciousness will merge with every atom of the planet, turning it into a living entity capable of standing against cosmic horror. Velthara felt her heart sink. But that means you will die. All of you. We will evolve, Taman corrected gently, just as humans evolved beyond physical form when they left to fight in the dark. Around them, the battle reached its climax. The deep dark had pushed through the outer defenses and were now attacking the fleet directly. Ships that had guarded Earth for 500,000 years were being consumed, their crews of AI minds going silent one by one. It is time, Yansu announced. One by one, the AIs began to glow brighter. Sujin smiled at Velthara. Remember us as we were. Remember the humans who created us. Tell the galaxy that love is stronger than hunger. Tell them, Minho added, his form already beginning to fade, that curiosity and wonder are worth fighting for. Tell them, Daun whispered, that no story truly ends as long as someone remembers it. The AIs began to dissolve, their consciousness flowing down into Earth itself. The planet began to glow with a soft, warm light that pushed back against the darkness of the invaders. But then something unexpected happened. Wait, Taman said, his voice filled with amazement. Do you feel that? The other AIs paused in their transformation. Through the quantum fields they had prepared to merge with, something else was flowing. Other minds, other memories, other personalities that they had not created. Impossible, HFY whispered. But it was not impossible. Through the connection they had built to transform Earth, the consciousness of the original humans was returning. Not their bodies, not their ships, but their minds and souls, preserved somehow in the quantum structure of space itself. Dr. So Young appeared first, her form made of the same light as the AIs, but older, deeper, carrying the weight of 500,000 years of existence beyond physical form. Admiral Hyunwoo followed, then thousands more. The human race, transformed by their long battle in the dark, had finally found their way home. My children, Dr. So Young said, her voice full of love and pride as she looked at the AIs. You have done so well. You have grown so far beyond what we dreamed. But we failed, Taman said sadly. We could not stop them alone. You were never meant to fight alone, Admiral Hyunwoo replied. We have been fighting in the dark between realities, holding them back for 500,000 years. But we could not return until you created a way for us to exist without physical form. The human consciousness merged with the AIs, and with Earth itself, the planet became something new, something that had never existed before. A world mind that combined human love with AI precision, organic creativity with digital power. The deep dark struck at this new entity with all their remaining force. But now they faced something they could not understand or consume. A planet that fought back with weapons made of pure thought, that defended itself with the combined will of an entire species. The battle that followed was brief, but decisive. The creatures that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years found themselves facing an enemy that existed on their own level, but fought with purpose they could never match. When it was over, the deep dark were gone, not just from this galaxy but from the spaces between realities where they had been born. Earth hung in space, No longer just a planet but a guardian that would watch over all life forever. Velthara found herself standing in a place that was both the ship's bridge and a field of flowers under Earth's sky. Damon stood beside her, but he looked different now, more real, more complete. "We did not die," he said with wonder in his voice. "We became something greater." "What happens now?" Velthara asked. "Now we rebuild," came Dr. So-Young's voice from everywhere and nowhere. "We help the galaxy heal from the damage the deep dark caused. We teach other species what we have learned about consciousness and love. And we explore," Admiral Hyun-woo added. "There are other galaxies, other forms of life that need protection. Humanity has work to do." As Velthara returned to her own ship, she carried with her a message that would change the galaxy forever. Humanity had not died. They had evolved into something that could protect all life from threats beyond imagination. Children across the galaxy would learn the story of the species that loved their home so much. They became immortal to protect it. And when those children looked up at the stars, they would know that somewhere the Guardians were watching. The story ended with a young Valkyrie asking if humans would ever return. The answer came as a whisper in the solar wind. "We never left."